Hello and welcome to the Quickie for the Ides of March, March 15th, 2013. This Quickie is called Sales Price Not Activating. One thing you'll notice is that the screen is half black, half red. And if you've been watching any of our Quickies, you know that the red screens mean that it's some sort of dealer or technician gear type of information. And if it's a black background, it's a general or customer-based thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to do like a two-step here. And we're going to do things kind of backwards. We're going to first of all start with just what to do if this happened to get you possibly very quickly out of an issue. And then we're going to go through why those steps work or don't work and how IG Manager actually does the sending. So we're going to start first in a customer type level and go over some of those steps, and then we're going to switch into more in-depth stuff. So sales and price not activated. This is something that can happen. It happens all the time. You come in. Not all the time. I mean, it's a common thing that can happen. You come in and the sale for today, they're supposed to start today, did not start, or the sale from yesterday hasn't gone off sale. All right. So what are you going to do? Well, the first thing you're going to do is check to make sure that the IG Manager PC's date and time is correct. You don't know how many times somebody was researching what their vacation is going to be like in August, and it's January. And they left the date changed on the computer to August. So that would be one reason why your sale isn't working. So check your time and date on the computer. Also check the AM and PMs. That can be a problem around the time change. So once you've done that and made sure the date and time is correct, the first thing you want to do is just go in and run a send POS or update POS just like normal. Just in case that nightly routine that we've scheduled has failed for some reason. All right. If you run that and it's still the sales still don't go down and you don't know what's going on, go ahead and pick one register one item that should have changed. Okay. And you're going to change the register description on that one item and then send the batch down. Now what I'm talking about is go into the item. I just picked bananas just for fun. And I'm going to go into the POS or the register description, the big blue area on the right, and I'm going to put a star at the end of the description. Or I could add an extra S or a dash or something just so that I know that I've made a change. One thing you need to make sure of, if you're a store that uses on air, the live updating, make sure it's not on, otherwise this test will not give us any information. So you go ahead and put a star at the end of the register description, and you send to the front end, and you see if that changes at the front end. If you go through this motions and after 5 minutes or so the item still has not changed, you can tell that by the price checker section in the middle of the screen, then your problem is beyond easy quick fix steps and you're going to have to contact support. Sorry. Okay. And what this does tell us is that we either have a communication problem or we have a batch system problem in the ACE system. So that does give us a starting point. Now, if you do this, and after a while you see the item change in your price check block, then yay, we are able to send price changes. So probably all we need to do is to resend the items that were attempted to send this morning, and there's a way to easily do that. When you bring up update POS, instead of doing normal POS update, you do advanced POS update. Now, if your screen doesn't look like this is the latest version of IG Manager. You may want, if screens don't look like this, don't attempt to do these steps. Go ahead and contact support and maybe contact support for a possible upgrade. So for this, we're going to go into advanced POS update, which happens to say build update using additional settings to assist troubleshooting. Well, we are trying to troubleshoot right now. So what we're going to do, it's going to bring up this screen. And the first thing we want to make sure of is that the date at the top is today's date. This was a couple days ago when we actually started doing this PowerPoint. So that's the first thing. The second thing you're going to do is choose this middle section here that says select only items with the above send date. What we want to do is resend every item we thought we sent on this day. And that's what it says here. So force all items with the last send date of today. And obviously you're going to click on start. Pardon me. And then just go through the Go through the rest of the send like normal. Let it all go through. Give it time to process. And then the next thing you're going to do is go up and spot check some items. If they haven't changed, if this is not working, you're going to have to contact support at this point. If you do check and everything looks okay, yay! But you still probably want to contact support, but you can wait a little bit till you get calmed down from this situation to see if there's a reason why that didn't work or if there's other problems that are in the system. Now, whether you got it working or you don't have it working, some things that are good to have when you call support. One, you're going to want a list of UPCs for items that are not correct in the point of sale right now. If you just call up and say my items aren't right, it's kind of vague. If you give us actual concrete UPCs, we can track down what's going on. And you're going to want a couple of these UPCs to be items that you've checked in the front end but haven't played with at all back in IG Manager. That lets us see the data on those items also. Also, when you call and the technician talks to you, tell them what you've done already. If you've already tried changing the description on bananas and it didn't go down, that's going to help him skip a step. Him or her skip a step. Okay. It's also going to be really good that you have some sort of phone access by the IG Manager PC and by the ACE controller and by a lane. So if you're in a store that has only one phone and it's in the customer service area, you may want to think about using your cell phone to call so that you can move around and check things for us, physical hands-on boxes. And the last thing is make sure you know what the passwords are to get into IG Manager and the ACE system. If the IG Manager system is locked down by the scanning coordinator, our tech may not be able to get back in. So you're going to want to make sure that we have access to that system. All right, so that's the very basic down and dirty is what to do when your sale hasn't gone on. Once again, that is check your date, do a regular send, pick an item and play with its description, see if it changes. And if it does change, you can go ahead and try to resend the items for today, or you can contact support if some of that doesn't work. All right, now, five. Okay, we're going to go a little bit deeper now into what how IG Manager runs the Send POS and some more troubleshooting options. Okay, so in the world of your item file, you actually have 3 item files we worry about. The first one is obviously the ACE point of sale system item file. That's the one that's used up front and runs the store. Some things about this one you want to remember, and it's not on the screen or text or anything, is the ACE system only has the current selling price. Doesn't know about dates of sales or anything like that. He only knows what price to sell the item for today. Okay? The second item file, which is the best one because it's IG Manager, is the one you play with, the pretty colored screen. This one keeps track of everything, and this is what you interact with. The third one you may not be aware of, and it's called our reg file. Our reg file keeps track of what we've sent to the point of sale. So in this case, you can see that bags, the PLU 69 bags, the last price we sent down there was 25 cents. For bananas, we sent 49 cents, and apples, we sent 89 cents. All right, so remember, we have a point of sale file in the register, we have the item file you play with, and then we have reg file. Let me show you how they all interact. All right. Normal price change. Now, one thing about IG Manager, it's different about all the other back rooms. IG Manager does not send based on last change date of an item. So if you go in and hit save, that's not going to make an item go down. An item has to go down and if it needs to go down, we're going to send it. If not, we're not. So we're going to see what that means here. All right. So on our screen, we've got the three amigos here. We got our IG Manager item file here. We got your point of sale here, and we have our reg file. And right now, everybody over here on the right is copacetic. Bananas are 49 cents, and that's the last price we sent. What we've got here is I've gone in and changed the price. Ignore this picture's not quite right. I changed the price to 59 cents. So, and I start a send POS. You'll notice when you do a send POS, it scans the whole file. What that means is it's going to each item and saying, what is the price? What should this item be selling for today? And so when we ask bananas, what should you be selling for today? It says, I want you to be at 59 cents. So send pause goes, okay, I want it to be bananas at 59 cents. So the next thing it does is it goes, hey, reg file. What was the last thing we sent to the point of sale for bananas? Oh, well, the last thing you sent to bananas was 49 cents. So we look at that. We know what we want it to be 59 cents. The last thing we sent was 49 cents. Uh-oh. They're not. We have to change something. So now, since they don't match, we're going to make an update for the point of sale to change bananas to 59 cents. And then the item file in the register changes. And then we tell reg file the last thing I sent to bananas was 59 cents. So now everybody's back in sync and we know exactly what's going on. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do an example of a sale that starts on the 7th and goes through the 15th. And we're going to simulate the first update that happens on the 7th, probably at 3, 4, or 5 o'clock in the morning. All right. So this is here's the item file. You can see here I put it on my sale starting on the 7th for 29 cents. So we start the send POS routine. It calls over to Bananas and say, hey Bananas, what price do you want to be today? And Bananas says, oh, I want to be 29 cents because I'm on sale on the 7th through the 15th. Okay, and send pause goes, all right, I got that. So reg file, what was the last thing we sent for bananas? Well, the last thing you sent for bananas was 59 cents. So now we know we want it to be 29 cents. We last sent 59 cents. Uh-oh, they don't match. We need to do an update. So we make an update for the for the ACE system to change the price to 29 cents. And he does. And then we update our reg file to keep track of the fact that we sent 29 cents to the register. Ready? That's nice and easy. Now let's look at what happens while that item is on sale, which in this example we're going to pretend it's the 10th, okay? So everything's okay. We start out, the register, the bananas are selling at 29 cents. We know we last sent at 29 cents and everything's copacetic. Nothing has changed over here. So on the 10th, I initiate a send POS. Send POS comes over, hey bananas, what price do you want to be today? They say, I want to be 29 cents. So he goes, okay. Reg file, what was the last price we sent on bananas? Reg file says the last price you sent for bananas was 29 cents. Send pause goes, oh, I want it to be 29 cents. It is 29 cents. Yay! Nothing. They match. I don't have to do anything. And then he stops the scan. He stops this item and goes on to the next item. Now, let's see what happens when this item goes off sale, which would be the first send on the 16th. So the morning of the 16th, we still have the same situation. The bananas are selling for 29 cents. Reg file knows it's 29 cents, and everything's fine. So we start the send on the 16th, and send POS looks at the item and says, hey, bananas, what price do you want to be today? Bananas say, I want to be 59 cents. So send POS goes, okay, you want to be 59 cents. Reg file, what was the last price we sent to bananas? Reg file says, the last price you sent to bananas was 29 cents. So send pause goes, I want to be 59. I want to be 59. The last price I sent was 29. There's a difference. I need to do an update. So he sends an update to the point of sale for 59 cents, and that changes the file over there. And then he sends an update to reg file, and reg file keeps track of that 59 cents. And so the item then goes off sale per se. Now, what could possibly go wrong in this situation? Okay. Well, let's go back to our first scenario where it's the 7th and we're trying to start the sale, which would match into the way we started this whole presentation. We're back to 59 cents at the register, 59 cents in reg file, and it's the first send on the 7th. So once again, send POS asks bananas, what price do you want to be today? Bananas comes back and says 29 cents. Send pause then asks the reg file, what price do you want to, what did we last send for bananas? Reg file says, you last sent 59 cents. There's a small glitch on that screen. So, come back. We want the price to be 29 cents. The price needs to be, last price we sent was 59 cents. So, obviously we need to do a send to the point of sale. So we make up our batch to send 29 cents to the front end, and something happens. That batch never makes it to the front end. We continue on and update our reg file because the last thing we sent to the register was 29 cents. So we end up with this wonderful scenario where the front end is still at 59 cents, which is not right. So what you're going to do is you're going to come in and say, oh, well, I need to send. So you're going to go through the send procedure again. Send POS, ask Banana, what price do you want to be? Banana says, last time I told you, it's the same as before, 29 cents. Send pause, ask reg file, hey, what was the last thing we sent for Bananas? Reg file says, well, the last thing you sent was 29 cents. So they look at it, and POS goes, well, I don't have anything to update. Well, we got a problem. The front end does not match what we want the price to be. Let me get to my notes here to match up with that. So this is where it could go wrong, and this is you'll notice you can see why we did some of the steps in the beginning. So let's go ahead. What are some of the things that could stop IG Manager from being able to send to the front end? These are going to be in the order of most likely to least likely. Okay. The first one, the most popular one, is that the control file on ACE is full. That's the DAM DMCTL. Okay, when that thing fills up, no more batches can come down to the front end. Okay. The next most common thing we run into is that a firewall, either on the IG Manager PC or somewhere in the building, starts messing with FTP that we need to send files to the CC controller. Okay. Next one down is no batch sequence number available. This is kind of an opposite, or the next thing that can happen with batch control file. Things that come down to the IBM get a number from 1, starting at 1, and go up sequentially. Well, the way the base setup of ACE works is that number could go from 1 to 999. So if you've sent, once you send your 1000th batch, your sequence number is higher than 99, and it will not take the batch. There are procedures to fix that. The next one, in order of most common cause, are department issues. If you have a department set up in IG Manager and you have items in that department, but you have not told ACE to use that department, the maintenance system may kick those products out and not accept those updates. All right, so those are the first 4 are the most common that we see. The more fun ones that happen down here have happened, but not as common. EMDM, BBD, I think it's BBL, I think I spelled that wrong. Anyway, the background task that actually applies batches from the scheduler into the item file. If that crashes, then the scheduler can't continue adding more batches, and you end up stuck. Next one is sending large batches over top of each other. You could end up with skipping over an EAM mate, which is the file we send. And then the last worst one in the world, worst one that's fun to play with is ADDML. That's the one that reads the input from IG Manager, fails locking certain files, which then make it impossible to put more batches into the system or even process what was last sent. Okay? So these are your most common ones. So once you figure out why you can't send, and the way you're going to check this is you're going to go back and you're going to change descriptions in the items, like Bananas, add 2 stars, take a star away. Keep sending until you finally get Bananas to change. Once you get this batch, the IG Manager and the ACE batch system working, then you can go ahead and try to recover from this situation. Now, what you're going to want to do, if you're not already set to, if you bring up an item and all you see is this is the right-hand side of your item, you want to click on the Show Future Retail button. And what that's going to do is that's going to expand the item entry screen out just a little bit. It's going to show you Future Retail, but it's going to show you this lovely red area over here. And on the Basic tab has some very important information. And the thing we're looking for is this entry called Last Send, which tells you the last date that we sent this item to the front end. So in our scenario where everything was fine until today, and our sale didn't go on and our sale didn't go off because we found out the hub was unplugged or something like that. So the batch never made it. Okay, we fixed that. So we go into one of the items, a couple of the items that they're complaining about, and we look and see when the last day we sent those items was. Well, that would have been this morning, right? So that tells me that if I can send the items that we thought we sent on the 13th again, everything should come back up into sync. So what I'm going to do is say if I can narrow down the days that this happened, either like today and yesterday, looking at the messages in the IBM, then I can go ahead and use the advanced update to resend those items that we sent down on those days. Okay. Now, if it's more than just today, you look in the IBM and you have messages about, item insert failure to DMBL, and you have that going on for more than a couple days, you don't want to try to guess which days there might have been a problem. In those cases, and it won't hurt anything, it's sometimes best just to resend everything from IG Manager to the front end to make sure everything is in sync. That is your best way to say that yes, now everything is back in sync. Okay. Now, I'm going to go through how to do that. You notice the color of the screen has changed to red, which means this is for information for support personnel only. Do not try to do this at home. We are trained professionals. If you try to do this, you can cause horrid things to happen, including loss of item files, which cannot be recovered. Okay? So, that disclaimer said, let me go quickly through how you actually resend the entire item file. It's actually not that difficult. First of all, close out of IG Manager. Makes sense. Next thing, back up IG Manager. Take all that you've got in the IG Manager folder, make a copy. Make another copy. Make sure you have a valid backup. Okay? Then, the next step will now make perfect sense now that you've learned how we send. Delete the regfile.dat in the IGM folder. What that's going to do is when we send, every time we go through that prompt to ask, hey, reg file, when did we last send? Reg file is going to go, I don't know. I don't know that item. And then send pause is going to go, oh, okay, well, we got to send a new item down. So that's why we get rid of the reg file. So we're going to reopen IG Manager. We're going to go into Update POS. Just don't click on anything advanced. Just say send, and you'll see an entire file of add items. And sometimes you'll find out stores have hundreds of thousands of items. Okay? And then if you're a support personnel, next thing you want to do is once that sends down, hop over to the controller, check the background task, make sure that the background tasks starts, that actually processes that batch and actually starts applying to the item file. And of course that could take anywhere from 15 minutes to 45 minutes depending on the controller type, how many items, and how busy the store is. Okay, so you say, well, what the heck? Why do we even have this problem? Why can't we fix this? Well, one, batch files are common with all back rooms with ACE. Some of them handle things different than others. We have some ways to minimize this situation. Now, this problem doesn't happen all the time. Most of the time. If you have a connection that has solid networking, nothing funky on the network, you have a good clean file with no funky items, no funky departments, that type of stuff, you probably won't run into this problem that often. If you have situation with flaky networks or lots of gobbledygook in the item file, you may want to look at turning on some of our mitigation systems that we have. One of the first things you can do that saves everybody time, remember is the try not to send for every price change. I know some people say, oh, I changed the price on carrots, let me send now. All right, now I changed the price on bananas, let me send again. No. If you've got a lot of those onesie-twosie price changes, you may want to look at using the on-air function, which updates the point of sale the minute you hit save. So that way you can put off doing batches until like the end of the night or until after you've done putting in a bunch of information. The other thing we have a program called Batch Monitor, which runs and it's a little traffic light that sits over there in your taskbar. It just sits there and flashes what the status is and checks to make sure all the batches that we send from IG Manager actually make it down into the IBM and get applied. The third thing we have is an end-of-day item compare feature that can be turned on. What that does is during our end-of-day process, we'll pull back the item file and we'll scan it and make sure all the prices match. And if they don't, they become what's called concerns. And concerns automatically get sent on the next update. So we'll force the pricing correct. Also, an option that your support people can do possibly is change ACE to use the newer EAM DMCTL, the control file schema. Remember, first we used, I said you could have 1 to 999. Well, they've changed that. You can go up to a lot higher. And there are ways to set that up. And you can also make a bigger batch control file so you won't run out of room. So those are some of the options we have to minimize this problem. So I hope this explains a little bit of how IG Manager does its send. I'm just going to jump back to the first screen. I want to mention something about what happens when the system is in a bad situation. If we go to where alright, so if you remember, if we have that situation where the update didn't work and the front end is still at 59 cents and you keep doing sends, nothing happens because nothing actually changed on the front end. I have many people who call up and say, my sale didn't go on. So they go in and they wipe out all of the sale information and they key it right back in and hit save, thinking that's going to make the item go down. Well, from what you just learned, if I erase my sale and put it back on for 29 cents for today, there's still not going to be any change because we still think it's 29 cents in the register. Even if I use a different sale, it's not going to make a difference. Now, it might, because whatever problem happened here may have now fixed itself, a temporary network problem or something, and it may look like that worked, but it actually is not. That's not the problem. That's not what fixes it. That's why in our set of instructions, our first thing, the second thing we had you do, okay, the second thing we had you do was to go ahead and make a change to the register description, because the register description is a definite change that you can see. No star, star. If you make this star, it's going to force us to make an update because you changed the description. And that's an item we know should get to the front end. If it doesn't get to the front end, that tells us where our problem is. If it does get to the front end, then it knows that right now we're okay and we can research another problem. So I hope that kind of gives you a little view of how IG Manager works with sending and maybe make it a little easier to handle some of these situations that might pop up over time. Once again, if everything's all messed up, and you just start freaking out, just call support, but make sure when you call that you have this information. It's going to make life a lot easier. I've had people call up and say, my items aren't going on sale. Well, which one? All of them. Well, can you give me one that you actually said you know is not on sale? Because the other thing that can happen is your cashier say, well, the sale's not on because the item they scanned they thought was supposed to be on sale because the customer told them it was supposed to be on sale. Well, it's really not. And your sale really is on. It's just a miscommunication up front. So when you call, make sure you have an item that you know this item is wrong. And if you know this item is wrong, then we can go ahead and try to fix it from there. If we have to poke around and poke around in the dark, that could be a problem. The other thing is really make sure you know your passwords or have somebody who can get into that machine. Because if we can't get into that machine, we can't help you. All right. So thank you very much for taking your time out on the Ides of March to watch our quickie for for the Ides of March on sale prices not activating. Thank you. As soon as I get this stupid thing to